The lawyer's office smelled faintly of leather and dust. I sat at the long oak table with my sister and a few distant relatives. The will was supposed to be a formality. My parents had been clear for years. They always said the house, the land, and their savings would be shared between us. But as the lawyer cleared his throat, I felt a strange tension in the room. He began to read slowly, carefully, each word like it carried weight. When he reached the part about the inheritance, my heart skipped. To our beloved nephew, Ethan, the one we always called our true son. We leave the house, the savings, and all property in his name. My breath caught, the room tilted. I gripped the edge of the table. Ethan, my cousin, who sat smugly across from me, didn't even flinch. A faint smile tugged at his lips as though he had known all along. I turned to my sister, her face pale with shock and betrayal. "This has to be a mistake," I said, my voice trembling with anger. The lawyer shook his head. "The documents signed and sealed months ago. My parents had given everything to Ethan, leaving us nothing." I wanted to scream, to demand answers, but my parents were gone. Ethan leaned back, folding his arms, the picture of smug satisfaction. "They always loved me more," he said softly but loud enough for us to hear. Memories flooded back, birthdays where Ethan was showered with gifts. Family dinners where my parents bragged about his grades, his charm, his future. I had worked quietly in the background, never the favorite, never the chosen one. But to erase us completely, to hand everything to him, felt like betrayal carved in stone. After the meeting, my sister broke down in the parking lot, sobbing uncontrollably. I held her close, but my own chest burned with fury. Why would they do this? What had we done wrong to deserve nothing? That night I sat alone with old photo albums, searching for clues. In every picture, Ethan was in the center, smiling while we stood to the side. The pattern was obvious. Now they had idolized him his whole life. But still, it didn't explain why they would leave us empty-handed. I requested copies of the will, combing through the details. Buried in the pages was a note in my father's handwriting. Ethan was the only one who stayed by our side when we needed help. I slammed the paper down, my hands shaking. It wasn't true. I had been there. I had driven them to appointments, fixed the house, paid bills. But Ethan had shown up only for celebrations, smiling for praise. My anger turned to suspicion. Something felt wrong, deeper than favoritism. I hired a private investigator, determined to uncover the truth. Weeks later, he returned with documents that shattered everything again. Ethan had manipulated them, convincing them to rewrite the will. Bank transfers, emails, even recordings of his voice guiding their decisions. It was fraud, carefully dressed as devotion. I gathered the evidence and returned to the lawyer. The case went to court, my heart pounding every step of the way. Ethan smirked, at first confident as ever. But as the judge read the evidence aloud, his face drained of color. The will was declared invalid, the inheritance restored to the rightful heirs. Ethan was left exposed, humiliated, his arrogance crumbling into silence. My sister and I walked out of court, holding hands, stronger than before. We hadn't just reclaimed what was ours, we had uncovered the lies buried deep. And as I looked up at the sky, I whispered to my parents, "We were always your children, and no cousin could ever replace that."